So I just hiked from Georgia to Maine on the Appalachian Trail, and this is everything that I carried. It's still packed in this backpack, and I want to show you all the gear that I ended up with. It's a little bit different than the gear I started with. I made quite a few changes here and there, and I'm really happy with it. The base weight is about 14 pounds, and I do have quite a few comfort items in there. So this setup worked perfectly for me, but when I do hop back on the AT and finish the last 200 miles, I'm probably gonna switch quite a few things up. So I figured I'd do a gear video now and just show you what I ended up with. And I also want to share a little bit about what worked and what didn't. So the backpack that I've had the whole time is the Hyperlight Mountain Gear Unbound 40-liter pack. I thought it was the perfect size for me. It fit all my gear. It was very comfortable and I had absolutely no complaints. So speaking of complaints, the first piece of gear on the outside of the pack is my Garmin InReach Mini. It does not work anymore. If you've seen the last vlog of my through hike, it was quite a story, but this is something I need to replace. There has been a new version of this that has come out since I bought it, so I might go for that one. In this water bottle pocket, I had a 1 liter smart water bottle, and I also carried my water filter, which is the Katadyn Be Free. Loved this water filter. I have the 1 liter storage bag attached to it, and I thought that was a good amount of water storage. I didn't need anything more than that. When I did carry a 0.6 liter bag, that was not enough. So the 1 liter was the sweet spot. I did replace the actual filter itself about like 3 or 4 times because I really enjoyed the fast water flow. So whenever it did get a little clogged up and slowed down, I just splurged and replaced it because that was something that was important to me. It's just filtering water super quick. This is the first shoulder strap pocket. This is my phone pouch. So my phone was in here. It's zippered closed. It was waterproof enough. Definitely experienced a lot of rain in the last part of my through hike, but my phone was gonna get wet regardless because I would keep taking it out to vlog or take pictures or to check the GPS to see how much further I had or where the water sources were. So it is waterproof, but my phone was always wet when it was raining because I just kept unzippering it to use it. On this hip belt, I have my Kula cloth attached to it, my pee rag, carried it the whole time. Kula cloth is definitely like the OG brand for pee rags, I think. I've tried knockoff versions of this that I just got off Amazon, and they are not as good. They've fallen off my backpack. They don't clip as well, so if you're interested, I would definitely go for the brand name Kula cloth. They're only like $20, but it's worth it. On the other shoulder strap, I have my water bottle pouch, and inside I have this water bottle. It's collapsible, it has the straw. I really enjoyed drinking with the straw and putting all my mixed drinks in this, and it was just so convenient. I drank so much water. The only thing about this is that it was kind of hard to clean. There's a lot of different like nooks and crannies of this, but when I would get to a hotel, I would take it all apart and I would clean it. Sometimes I would take like a Q-tip and get into some crevices, but I have noticed mold grow on it. I've had to replace the bite valve on it a few times, but I wouldn't change this. It was so convenient to have. Spin the backpack around a little more. This side, I had my bandana. This was just to blow my nose mostly, sometimes wipe my sweat, maybe sometimes wipe my phone down, but always had this hanging down off my backpack for whatever I needed. Spinning the backpack around, this big thing right here, these are my tent poles. So I did switch to a freestanding tent halfway through the through hike, so I did have to start carrying tent poles. They are a little heavy, but I really enjoyed that freestanding tent towards the end. In this pocket, I also have my tripod. I've switched tripods a couple times. This is definitely my smallest and most lightweight tripod, but it's also the flimsiest. Like, the legs just don't stick out, and it honestly got so frustrating to use that I stopped using it towards the end and would either just hold my phone to vlog or prop my phone against a rock or a tree or something. but this got kind of useless at the end, and I probably won't take it back out with me. In this pocket, I also have my visor, which came in handy so much when it started raining every day because it really just propped my rain jacket hood up and away from my face, and yeah, just created a little bubble for my face to stay dry. Anything else? And I did carry a full-size thing of bug spray because the bugs got really bad once I entered New England. And I think that's it. Now coming along the front side of my backpack, I have my AT hang tag that I carried the whole hike. Got it at Immokalee. I was through hiker number 932 starting out. This big pocket in the front has my Old Navy flip-flops. These kind of annoyed me in the beginning when I was wearing socks with my flip-flops because my feet kept sliding around. But then I realized if I just had bare feet and wore my flip-flops, they were fine for walking around camp and walking around town. So I liked having these. I didn't need a super fancy, expensive pair of ultralight sandals. The $2 Old Navy ones work just fine. All right, I also have my tent stakes. Because I did switch to a freestanding tent, I think I only carried 4. I really only needed 3, but I carried an extra one. So yeah, my tent might have been heavy, but I only needed 3 tent stakes. This was very important. This was my rain jacket, my Z-Pax Virtus rain jacket. Very comfortable, very thin. Definitely didn't keep me dry, especially in all the downpours, but what I've learned through backpacking and lots of through hiking is that no rain jacket will actually keep you dry. I also have expensive heavy duty Gore-Tex rain jackets, and I would still carry this one. I also have a bug net. I did wear this a couple times, and it actually wasn't that bad, but I never really liked the idea of putting it on because I thought it would be annoying to hike with, but there were a few breaks that I took up in Maine that I just put the head net on while I was chilling on a mountain, and it was fine. It was helpful, but I don't know, I kind of always dreaded putting this on, so I never really did. Also, I have my rain pants. These are also Z-Pax Virtus rain pants. They were fine. I would usually just wear them to keep the bugs off my legs when I stopped and got to camp. I hiked with them a couple times when it was a little too cold for shorts, but a little too warm for my hiking pants. They're so easy to put on and take off even with my shoes, so they're super nice. They don't weigh much at all. There's one rain mitt. Oh, do I still have the other one? 2 rain mitts. These were fine. I hiked with them a couple times, but my favorite times for wearing the rain mitts is when I had to pack up my tent in the morning and it was wet, because sometimes it'd be covered in mud, a lot of times it'd be covered in snails, and sometimes I just didn't want to touch my dirty, gross tent first thing in the morning with my clean hands. So I put the rain mitts on, pack everything up, and then just throw them back in my pack. Oh, something else. These are so gross. I didn't know these were still in there. Soaking, wet. They're so muddy, they were like stuck together. Darn tough socks. So bad. And then this is a little bag for my head net. I guess I don't really need it. It just kind of came with it. And that's going to be everything for my pack and what's on the outside of it. Now I'll open it up. Real quick, if you've been following along with me this year, you're probably familiar with Element. It's the electrolyte drink mix that I've been using all year to stay hydrated. I used this a ton on the Appalachian Trail this year, and now I'm just using it in my day-to-day life because it's summer, it's hot and humid, it's sweaty outside, and I use it to replace all the electrolytes that I lose when I'm sweating. The primary electrolyte you lose when you sweat is sodium, and one of these packets has 1,000 milligrams of sodium to help replenish that. Element is my favorite brand when it comes to electrolyte drink mixes because there's no artificial ingredients, there's no coloring, there's no sugar, that's the big thing, there's no gluten, so it's just a really clean product. If you haven't done this yet, you can use the link in the description of this video to get a free sample pack with 8 of their flavors for free with any purchase on their website. That link is drinkelement.com/Nahamsha. That deal is actually also valid for returning customers, so if you have ordered Element in the past and you want to restock, you can also go to drinkelement.com/Nahamsha and get a free sample pack with any purchase. If you've been curious about Element and you want to try the flavors, now's the time. Go to that link, and thank you Element for sponsoring this video. Going in my backpack, the thing I always kept right on top is my food bag. This is the large food bag from Hilltop Packs. There's no food in it right now, but I do have a couple of food related items that I always kept inside of it. The first thing is my spoon. I decided to try a spoon this year instead of the spork just to kind of test it out. There are pros and cons. This spoon is kind of made of silicone, so I thought it was really good for scraping every last bite out of my pot when I did cook right in it. And I did cook oatmeal in my pot a lot, and ramen sometimes, mashed potatoes. And this was just nice and smooth, and it wasn't like metal on metal trying to get everything out of my pot, and I was able to clean it pretty well with just the spoon. And then I can't find it right now, I don't know where it went, but I had that blue kitchen rag that after I got everything out of my pot with this spoon, I just kind of gave it a quick wipe and then it was clean enough. Also in here, I kept my stove, which is the Jetboil Stash. This is the rock sack from Z-Packs to hang my food with. This is the paracord or the line, whatever it's called, that I also had to hang my food in the trees. And then a mini Bic lighter. Next I have another bag from Hilltop Packs. This is a small one, custom printed with Nahamsha on it. This was all of my toiletries, first aid, and electronics. So this pretty much stayed exactly the same my whole hike. I have the 20,000 milliamp battery pack. This always seemed to be enough battery for me. I use my phone a lot, I charge it a lot, and it did get low a few times, but I always just went into town when it got low and that was never a problem. This toiletry bag kind of looks gross. It's pretty old. In it I have the baby powder, toothbrush, toothpaste. This is just a bag of Q-tips. I probably stole that from like a hostel or somewhere, to be honest. A razor, a Swiss Army knife, my hairbrush. This was the prescription eye cream from when I had an eye infection. This was flossers and an extra contact, matches and an extra lighter. This was some like Tylenol, Excedrin, and just some like pain relieving pills, and camp soap. That was, I think, the right amount of toiletries / first aid for me. Nothing crazy. This bag is all of my charging cords. I did have a lot of them. I think there's 5 charging cords in total for all my electronics, and then the wall brick thing to plug the charger into. Now we have my stove, which is the Jetboil Stash. And it attached to the top is the fuel canister. I always just took the really little ones. And then also this is the blue rag that I was trying to find. This is what I would just clean my pot with after I ate everything, and worked great. Now I have a couple luxury items, I guess. I carried a loofah the entire time. This was so good in towns to just scrub all the dirt off of me, just load it up with soap, and I just felt super clean. So it was worth carrying the loofah just for how clean I felt after I would take a shower. I also started carrying an entire roll of Leukotape to cover all of my blisters. I also was able to patch some holes in my quilt, and it was just really useful to have. This is actually a whole entire backpack that I carried. I carried this towards the end to use for slack packing, and it really did come in handy a few times. Not sure if I would ever carry this for the whole entire through hike, but I did know I was going to do a bit of slack packing in New Hampshire, and I was hoping I'd be able to slack pack in Maine. So it only weighs like 2 ounces, so I thought it would be fun to carry it. Why not? This is my tent, the one-person Nemo tent. It's like the Dragonfly, I believe. Really, really, really liked it. It is a lot heavier than the Z-Packs Plex Solo, which I started the hike with, but I think I've done a whole video on why I went from that tent to this tent and all the pros and cons, but absolutely no regrets buying this on a whim one night in my tent on the through hike. It was perfect. I am gonna do this really quick because I'm really embarrassed. My sleeping pad is the Thermarest Neo Air X Lite, the new version, like the NXT, the one that's supposed to, I think, weigh a little less or be quieter or warmer or something, but it got incredibly moldy and I haven't cleaned it or have done anything to make it better, and I should have taken better care of that, but I didn't. I honestly think that it was a lot better than the normal Neo Air X Lite. It was definitely quieter and I really enjoyed sleeping on it because I do toss and turn a lot and it didn't make that much noise. I did hear that Nemo is coming out with new sleeping pads very soon. I am really hoping they come out before I go back on the trail in September because I will most definitely want to buy that and test it out. So not sure if I'm going to replace that sleeping bag with another Thermarest or wait until the Nemo ones come out. We'll see, but I don't know if that mold is coming out of that sleeping pad, to be honest. The last thing in here is my compression sack. I really enjoyed having this compression sack. It wasn't waterproof like a lot of pack liners or compactor bags that people use to put their stuff in that they want to keep dry, but this worked for me. I never had any problems with my gear getting wet when it rained, and it rained a lot, so I am happy with it. In this compression sack, I have my puffy jacket, the Enlightened Equipment Torrid. This is also something that I'm replacing. I'm getting something new for when I go back out on the trail in September, so stay tuned for that. This has been the only puffy jacket that I've ever used my whole backpacking life, so I'm excited to try something new. This is also my town outfit. It's technically like my sleep outfit, but a lot of times I would just sleep in my hiking clothes. I didn't really ever change unless I was really gross or really wet. So little chicken leg shorts, Mountain Hardwear, super lightweight, long sleeve. It's so lightweight and thin that it's almost see-through, so I always wore my jacket on top of that, or I'd wear my buff kind of as a shirt under it. So little outfit. My pillow is the Nemo Philo Elite. Pretty early on in the hike, someone recommended that I put my pillow in between my knees for a better night's sleep, and that absolutely changed the game. So this pillow was always in between my knees, and I'd use this with extra clothes and gear for my pillow under my head, and I really liked that system. Next, I have some micro grid fleece gloves that I carried the whole time, down booties that I honestly didn't really wear as much as I did the first through hike, but I kept them anyways, just in case my feet got cold. I carried hiking pants, although I didn't wear them very often. I was always kind of afraid to get rid of them, especially as I got further north and I was hiking mountains above tree line. I just didn't know how cold or windy the conditions were gonna get, so I always kept these as a peace of mind that I wouldn't get cold up there in the big New England mountains. They were also really great for towns because there's tons of pockets to put my wallet and stuff in if I was walking around town. They are heavy, but I guess it's a little bit of a luxury item. I definitely don't think I needed them, but it was a good peace of mind to not get cold. And this is probably the last thing. It is my sleeping bag slash quilts. This is the 20-degree zip around sleeping bag from Z-Packs. I thought it was the perfect temperature rating, the 20 degrees. In the beginning of the hike, I did have a winter sleeping pad, so I think that helped with keeping me warm. And then when spring came and it got a little warmer, I did switch to the normal X-Lite sleeping pad, but I thought this was great. It was really comfortable. It was really lightweight. The only thing I wasn't super thrilled about was that every morning when I woke up in the sleeping bag, there'd be feathers. I don't want to say a lot of feathers, but there would be feathers spread around my tent. So it was losing some down daily on the hike. I don't think it made a big difference, but it was a little bit of a bummer. The zipper also snagged on itself at one point and created a pretty big hole, but this Luco tape has been on the hole for a while and it's held up well. I do think it's a really good sleeping bag, and I don't think I'm gonna replace it. I think when I go back out on the trail this fall, I'll probably still carry this bag. So that was all the gear that I carried on my back, in my backpack, but there's also some gear that I didn't want to miss out on in this video, including the outfit that I wore while I was hiking. Most of the time, I have this green Survivor buff that I always wore as a headband, kept my hair out of my face, kept the sweat off my face, and just really versatile. Also, this was super important to me. This is Injinji toe liner socks. So I wore these under my Darn Tough socks, and it was just a great combination. This is what I always hike in, and for me, it really helps with blisters. I have my Old Navy running shorts with the built-in liner. Worked out really well. They held up perfectly for a pair of $5 shorts. 1 second. He's probably going to say something about the smell.
It smells like feet in here. Okay, let's continue.
It smells like dirty hiking gear. This is my sun hoodie, the Outdoor Research Astroman. I absolutely loved hiking in it. It was so comfortable. It protected me from the sun. It wasn't too hot. That's always been my fear with long sleeve hiking shirts. I always thought they'd be too hot, but this was just so comfortable. And then it would also kind of keep the bugs off of my ears, my head, my arms, and I just felt really protected and good wearing it. The only thing is it did not hold up well when it came to like the coloring and the pilling. So I am replacing this, but I'm getting the same brand, same model, everything for when I go back out. And then just a super basic, simple Old Navy sports bra. So the last day of my hike, when I got into Rangeley, my trail runners were completely destroyed. So I threw them away in Rangeley, and these would have been the ones I switched to. They're the Saucony Peregrine 13s. I've been wearing the same exact trail runners since the beginning of my 2021 through hike. I went to a gear shop, talked to someone that worked there, try on a bunch of pairs, and I think that's the best way to pick a trail runner. It's so different for everyone. I never want someone to pick out a pair of shoes just because I wear them. I really want you to go out and try them all. So yeah, shoes are personal. This is what I wear. They might work for you, but they also might not. And that same thing kind of applies for all hiking gear as well. Lastly, I want to go in everything that was in my fanny pack. This is a fanny pack from Hyperlite Mountain Gear. I really enjoyed it. I went with a backpack that doesn't have hip belt pockets. Instead, I wanted everything just in my fanny pack because it was so much easier for me. There is a pocket on this side of the fanny pack, and that's where I kept my toilet paper, so it was always so easily accessible. There's only like 2 squares of toilet paper left. I also have some single wet wipes in individual packets, so I use those occasionally, but would just carry toilet paper. In the main compartment of the fanny pack, that's where I kept my snacks that I was eating throughout the day. It's also where I kept my wallet, which is the Chums wallet, and it's still what I use in my day-to-day life. And then in this zippered pocket on the front, a couple little things that I might need. Some hand sanitizer, my sunscreen, my lip balm. This is just an extra valve for my water bottle that I guess I carried in case my one I was using got mold, because that happens. And then also my Petzl Bindi headlamp. So again, that's everything that I ended the Appalachian Trail with this year. All the links for all of this gear will be in the description of this video, as well as that link for your free sample pack from Element with any purchase. So you can find a lot of information in that description. I will be switching up some gear for when I head back out on the trail this fall, so I will make an updated gear list video. And I also have a couple more Appalachian Trail videos in the works, so subscribe so you don't miss those. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
It's so hot. Oh, so miserable. God, it's awful. Hey.
I'm filming.
Oh, that sucks. God, it's so hot and muggy in here. Dude, you need to shut up.
Oh, I only have a couple things left.
Oh no! Oh my God. I need to be quiet.
Yeah, can you please be quiet? I only have a couple things left. Stop looking at me. So this is the sun hoodie. Why are you staring at me? This is my sun hoodie, the Outdoor Research Astroman. Stop looking at me. For the 10th time, this is my sun hoodie.